we're gonna try this one last time. We're having some technical difficulties this morning, which is super frustrating. Um, but I am okay. I think I should be able to add Lindsay on this one. I think I figured it out. So, good morning. Hi, Lindsay. Yes, okay. Now I can add. I think I figured out what was wrong. Um, yeah,
Yes.
we did it.
Woo! Um, so I deleted my little video
I
because it was silly, but I was just saying that sometimes life does not go as planned. The same
yes.
way with pregnancy and birth and breastfeeding and postpartum. So we are here to remind you that as doulas and postpartum professionals, it happens to us too,
Yep.
and it's all good. So I know you explained to everybody who we are.
But let's start over because we're gonna share this as as a pre-recorded video later.
Yes,
Um,
do a great job
so
with it.
yeah, so I'm Liz. I'm one half of the team at Rising Tide Women. Lindsay is one half of the team at Rising Tide Women, and we cover families. We support families from conception all the way through the first year of parenting and beyond. But that's really our focus. Um, we so basically anytime that you're in that perinatal, we call it the perinatal period, which is just the time before, during, and after you give birth. We got you. We're here for you. So we do that by offering birth classes, and we should give a shout out to our upcoming class in Norwell because we still have a couple of spots open. So you should definitely register.
Yeah, and we like a nice bunch in there because everybody learns from each other, and you actually start to create that community that will serve you through the rest of your pregnancy and your postpartum. So we
Yeah.
definitely like to see a full group.
Yeah, definitely. So that is at the what it remind me of the South Shore Perinatal Wellness Center.
You got it. It's in Norway.
Okay. It's in Norwell and that is on November 18th and it's just a one day all day class. So definitely we like I said we still have spots. We'll put a link in the comments after this. But definitely check that out. So we offer prenatal classes. If you can't make it to that one, we also do in-home classes. And we wanted to also let people know this is like a hopefully a 30 to 45-minute video this morning about comfort measures in labor, non-medical comfort measures. It's it's really just like we're barely skimming the surface. So,
Yeah,
you know,
like this isn't normally how we would, teach a class. We delve into each of these and we do them with you so that you understand what you're doing, whether you have a professional doula with you or to help teach the main support person who's going to be with you during your labor experience. So we are like touching on things. Keep that in
yeah,
mind.
this is yeah. So like just so if you so this is kind of like a little taster and to give you just kind of a direction to start heading in. But then if you want more, we would do, we can do a whole class with you. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna just have blurry vision because my lamp is like reflecting in my glasses and driving me nuts. Um, so yeah, so we would do a whole class and we really dive into these and practice them and give you just a lot more. So we do that. That's our prenatal classes. Lindsay is an amazing, amazing birth doula. She gives such exceptional support to our clients. So we do that. We do birth support after you give birth. I'm there for breastfeeding or non-breastfeeding questions. Like I think that people often think that if you're not this like die-hard breastfeeder, that an IBCLC, a board certified lactation consultant, is not for you. And I just want to say that's not true. Like we actually, all of our clients get a consult with me, and including the ones who are not breastfeeding. And I sometimes people are like, why would I want to see a feeding specialist if I'm not breastfeeding? But the reality is, like, your body actually doesn't know that you're not breastfeeding. So it's really helpful to try, if you don't want to breastfeed, to manage that physiological process of that, mature milk coming in. And also to talk about like safely and lovingly bottle feeding your baby. I think that that's, we're not just there for like the hippie crunchy granola moms, like which is a phrase I have a lot of feelings about.
Yeah. Yes. No, not everybody needs an IBCLC, but everybody needs Liz Libby. And um, and we feel that it is included in every package, whether you use that consult or not. And when we say that consult, we're talking in home. So
Yeah,
you're basically, when you hire us for doula support, I'm the primary doula of the group, but you are going to get two doulas in your package, and
yeah,
you're gonna see both of us. And there's also a lot of other love and support within our packages. But
so
to get into what today's topic is, we are discussing non-medicated labor techniques, which, are coping strategies. And a lot of people would probably call that natural labor. I feel that when we use the word natural, there's a lot of gray area, and what one person may understand as natural, the next person may not. So I want to be really
yeah,
clear, that number one, we support you throughout your entire journey, no matter what you choose. We just ask that you understand your options and that everything's explained to you. That's
yeah,
the only time I have a problem, is when I see our clients being brushed off and told that, oh, yeah, 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 that medication is totally safe. You need information before you make a decision. However, we're there for you for the duration of your labor, whether you want medication or not. So that means a few things. Last week we did talk about some pain medication options, and today we're going to focus on touching on. Remember, we're
yeah,
touching on some ideas. We highly recommend you do take our class. If our classes don't fit into your schedule, which when they're offered privately and also in the group setting, we feel like we're giving you lots of options. We do have other people that we could recommend, because that's just how we roll. Um, so if before we get into the actual strategies, um, we love to talk about the fact that pain is part of labor, plain and
yeah,
simple. Um, you, usually when we think about pain, we, number one, we tense up and are like, oh gosh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about the pain of labor, because everybody's told me how much it hurts.
yeah,
And we get that and we validate that. Um, but also, there are reasons why you feel the discomfort that you do.
yeah, yeah. And I always talk about it as like, or we tend to talk about it as pain with a purpose. Like it's gonna be uncomfortable, but it's uncomfortable because it's your body stretching and moving, and it's work. That's why we call it labor. It's work. So it's pain with a purpose. Like if you break your leg, it just hurts. It doesn't stop hurting for a long time, and it's not doing anything. It just hurts.
Mm.
Whereas during labor, we tend to, I think so many people think of it as this like unrelenting agony, because that's what we see on TV. That's what we see in the movies. And I hate that, because it's not how it is. You have your contraction, your surge in the hypnobirthing world is what we call it. But like, you
Mhm.
know, then you're fine in between. Like you get a break.
Right, right.
So
Like, Mother Nature always lets you rest. And in between and during those breaks, when you have the right support, you're able to get comfortable again and relax from all of that, and almost, depending on how your brain operates, be mentally ready for the next one. Um, what that discomfort also tells your body, um, and your support people will be reminding you that it's telling you to move. It's telling you to get up, get out of bed, go for a walk, go do something to help position that baby. And also, when you're helping to position the, remember, babies don't just come straight through a pelvis. There's a lot of work, there's a lot of maneuvering, there's a lot of human or other humans, there could be a few in there, that need to kind of work their way through. And
Yeah.
when you're feeling that discomfort, your mind is you're all working together, remember, and your body wants to move and wants to get up and do things. We just don't always know exactly what we should be doing. And also I feel like there's a lot of um oh my gosh, I don't know what the word is, but like confusion as to like, well, I don't know how to labor. How do I know what position to get into next? And sometimes we don't know what position to help you get in, but we offer up ideas and we say
Yeah.
maybe going and take a walk, maybe go do the stairs, um, do some lunges, some squats, sway, slow dance. I mean, there are so many different options. Get on the, we call it a birth ball, and I think people tend to think they're giving birth on an exercise ball. I've never seen anyone give birth on a ball.
We don't recommend that.
We get a wreck, but we want you to keep moving so that you can get some sort of relief or distraction, and
Yeah.
also help your baby or babies rotate and come through, because sometimes they're sitting on a bone in a really funny way. And
Yeah.
just by getting up and out of bed or doing something different gives you so much relief.
Yeah.
Uh,
You can kind of shimmy them.
right. Like I said, it's not a straight drop through the pelvis. Okay. Some kids do come through a lot faster.
Yeah.
Um, Also, that movement helps to open your pelvis. We tend to think of the pelvis as a fixed bone.
Let me get the pelvis and I'll
Go,
show. I'll
go
demo.
get the pelvis. It is not a fixed bone. Your pelvis moves in three different places. Not a ton, but when you are doing lunges or you're squatting, you can open the area a lot more than how it is. So yeah, it tends like our wonderful cloth pelvis that we bring to class is so awesome. It Our pelvis doesn't necessarily flex as much as this lovely, soft, cuddly pelvis. However, it's to show you guys, also your tailbone moves out of the way ever so slightly. So if you're laying down in a bed, it doesn't have as much room. You're pushing against a mattress. So
Yeah.
that's why we want you upright. Thank you. A much better chute to get a baby out, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think people, again, it's because we don't talk about these things on the regular basis. I mean, because
Well, I mean, you and I do.
I mean, we do, but in general,
Yeah.
we don't think about how, we don't, many of us don't know that actually the birth canal is not just like this straight path that baby kind of falls out of, like it's really, so I'm going to use the baby here. It's more of like a J shaped path. And so normally also the legs are not straight up like this baby. I love this.
This kid
But
cracked up.
basically,
This is like swan dive, baby.
I know, just shoo. So the baby comes out, and then there is a certain amount of kind of wiggling, but they also have to come up around that tailbone. So they kind of come through that way, but we got to help them a little bit. We got to shimmy them, you
Right,
know?
you do. You need to move in labor, and for
Yeah.
some that means early labor. They're
Yeah.
they're, they're moving. I usually suggest turn the music up, get dancing, do all of move. You see all those really cute birth videos, and not everybody has a smile on their face. Let's also remember that, like,
Yeah.
for the
That's fine too.
ones like really still smiling and they're in labor, it's most likely early labor. It could be active, it could be transition. I've seen all sorts of faces during
Yes.
labor. I see people make lots of faces. Um, but for the most part, get moving as early on in your labor as you possibly can. Um,
Yeah.
we tend, with that pain and that discomfort, something I like to remind people is that for some, birth is your sport, and and you can get through this with great support. Marathoners and those that train hard for something, what really I have seen that gets them through, and what people talk about when I have like these um, athletes that are, our clients, it's good support,
Yeah.
and people cheering them on and telling them that they can do it, because that's how you finish a race the way you want to.
Yeah.
So birth is your sport. Don't forget that. Um, and having really excellent education and professional support. I say that because it really makes a difference, to have someone who really knows what they're talking about, a guide, um, to help you get through a lot of that. I don't think I could
Yeah.
commit to training for a marathon tomorrow if I didn't have the right education and the right people
Yeah.
backing me, helping me through that.
Yeah. And I think just to have someone there whose only job is to help you stay relaxed and comfortable, I think that it's amazing, you know?
And yeah, absolutely, and informed. So this is one
Yes.
that we want to talk about is the fear, tension, pain cycle, and we're gonna brush on this, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Most people are afraid of the discomfort they're going to feel in labor. I get it. That's what we mainly talk about. I overheard a woman in a store yesterday, um, talking about the how scared she was to give birth. Believe me, I wanted to run over there. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to like talk her down from everything. But it's out there, guys. It's rampant.
Yeah.
So also like be mindful of how you talk to people about labor. If you feel like you're not gonna encourage them, send them our way.
Yeah.
When we are scared of something, it creates tension, plain and simple. I know that we probably all go through something like that weekly, if not daily. There's a lot of fear out there. So it creates tension. It literally tightens up our shoulders, it tightens up our jaws, it clenches all the muscles in our body, including our pelvic floor, which needs
Hmm.
to get a baby out. That tension then increases our perception of pain, so that when the time does come, and when we don't fully understand what's going on with our bodies and the hormones that are working hard to get you to that end result, which is a baby in your arms, on your chest, and P.S., once the baby's out, for the most part, all that discomfort is gone. There's a little bit more you have to go with birthing the placenta, and if there are a few other things that happened in labor, but really you're done.
Yeah.
So so when we have that increased feeling of pain, we're going to begin to suffer. We don't want you to get there. We want you to be fully supported and understand what is going on and why it's happening, so that you can deal with everything and birth your baby in a way that leaves you feeling very satisfied with the experience. Whether you do go for meds or you understand that, yes, like, you're going to get through
Yeah.
this and you can do it, and that you want to keep going. So I just like to, and it's hard to not keep talking about these things,
I
but
know. I
that's
know.
why I like to touch on those things, so that we can now talk to you basically about setting the scene and some comfort
Yeah.
measures. Just remember, the people who are going to surround you while you're in labor, whether you're at home or at a hospital or at a actual birth center, um, which is different than what a lot of hospitals call their birthing center.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to look at an orange and call it an apple. Like there is a difference. Or where you choose to have your baby. You need to be surrounded by people who truly listen to you, support you, encourage you, love on you, and make you feel safe. That is number one in setting the scene
Yes.
for helping you cope with labor. Okay, I
Yeah.
like to really talk about that. So whether that's candles and aromatherapy and the smells that you like and the people that you like, um, in order to get through labor, you really need to feel protected.
Yeah. Yeah. Feeling safe is really, it's such a big piece. And, staying as relaxed as you can, just to kind of be, really sail through that labor as best you
Yeah,
can.
it helps decrease your perception of pain too, because when
Yeah.
you're feeling love, you've got all that extra oxytocin going, which, as Liz loves to say, like those are the warm fuzzies, okay? It's not going to take
Yeah.
away all that discomfort, but it helps.
Well,
You know,
and it makes it more tolerable. I mean, I think that's the big thing is like if you are in pain and also scared, it magnifies all of that, but if you are in pain, but you're safe and well cared for, it's much easier to cope with, you
right,
know?
right.
Like, I think that's just common sense.
That's common sense, and that's nature.
Yeah.
That is our biology. We are built to give birth feeling safe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're not necessarily created to give birth in a lot of the scenarios that we're doing it in these days. And I gotta just say, like, mad props to everybody giving birth out there because it's a different world and there's a lot of information out there that is working against us. So that's
Yeah.
why, hiring the right people who know what's going on and understand it really helps.
Yeah.
So we already talked about movement, which is number one. And I usually say I'm the biggest pain in the butt during labor because not in a drill sergeant way, but I'm gonna suggest you walk. Whether we are communicating while you're still at home and I haven't joined you yet physically, or you've gotten to the hospital before me and you're coping well, and it's not time to call us in yet. I am the one who is saying, okay, you know, balance, rest,
Yeah.
but also go for a walk. Turn the music up in the house or the hospital. You can bring music and play music, people. Again, we don't
Yes.
have to be these like tiptoeing people. Um,
Yes.
but
Can we
we
just
really do
say,
suggest moving. Walk your stairs. Um,
yeah.
we can get really, really creative. I suggest doing some lunges. And if you have stairs in your house, you know, with
Stair
make
one.
sure you feel nice and supported and not wobbly, but put a leg up on that first step, hold on to the railing, and during those contractions, lean into that and open
Yeah.
with the pelvis. You can open one side at a time when you're lunging and doing stairs, and sometimes that's enough to help a baby get off part of that bone or off the pubic bone and really help rotate and get into a good position to
Yeah.
so moving. I was at a birth recently and I was like, how about one more lap? What, go for it, one more lap. Get up to the bathroom, get up to the bathroom every 45 to 60 minutes.
Yes.
That's a great
That's
great
a
thing
big
to do.
tip.
And emptying the bladder has great benefits that we discuss in class.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
Anything?
And
Yeah.
I mean, I have so many thoughts, but I always just like to tell people like actually a full bladder can make your contractions more uncomfortable. So make sure you're emptying your bladder because you may not actually, there's a lot of sensation going on. So you may not feel like you have to go pee. You might just feel it as like really intense contractions. So definitely want to keep that bladder empty. But I also just something you said earlier, like you don't have to be this like quiet. I really feel like we have this idea that we're supposed to be like good girls during labor. We're supposed to be quiet and we're supposed to be, whatever. And I just want to like just give everyone permission to throw that out the window. Like it is not your job to be a good patient. It is not your job to be a good, sweet, polite girl during labor. It is your job to roar that baby into the world if that's what works for you. If it works for you to be peaceful and quiet and zen, go for it. But if not, make noise. You are allowed to make noise. You are allowed to go in the hallway outside of your hospital room if you're in the
Yep.
hospital. You are allowed to do whatever makes you comfortable, whether that's making noise. Like, don't, I think people are so worried. They're like, oh, I'm worried about the woman in the next room. She's not worried about you. She's worried about whatever she's doing. Like, nobody cares. So just do what you gotta do. I
And
feel very strongly about that.
I know, and I think it's wonderful. Um, quick backtrack. With that, if you find that the care providers who are in charge of the medical end of things, if they are not supportive of you and your style, you can ask for somebody else to be with you. If your nurse is making you uncomfortable, you can say, I need to speak to somebody else. That is why it is great to have fabulous support in that you have brought, let's just say, to the hospital with you. You
Yeah,
cannot be saying to the nurse yourself, like, I mean, you can,
you
but
can.
most feel
More
comfortable
power.
that you need somebody else. But that's why if you have a great partner or support person or a doula like that, they can help facilitate getting the right people in the room for you. I was someplace recently where our clients spoke up and said, "There's no way I can have that person in the room with me," which really was incredible, um, and so proactive. So
So good.
do that, okay? Because that also will increase your perception of pain. When you are scared or not liking the energy in the room, you know that. Like we all have that intuition. We all know when we don't feel good about something. So I can't
Mhm.
speak highly enough about all of that, okay? Um, but just to get back on track.
I know we're like
Sorry.
we but
Okay, so we've talked about rocking, we've talked about swaying, we've talked about slow dancing.
how about
Put your wedding song on. Put your
yeah,
favorite music on. Get in touch with all the things that make you happy and feel safe and comfortable.
yeah,
Another thing that really works for people, whether you're still at home or you're going to birth at home or you're going to another facility, is water. And we call
oh
that
good, I was gonna say that.
therapy. And a lot of people are probably like, yes, the shower felt great. You can put that water nozzle all over your body or have
So
it
good.
concentrating on one part of your back. Or the tub might really help you relax.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes the tub can slow labor down, which is really interesting. So just be mindful of when you're getting in. Um, the hydrotherapy is a really great thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, I think we get into this all or nothing. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Like some some places you can labor in the tub, but they're not comfortable with folks giving birth in the tub. Whereas other places you can give birth in the tub, but you don't always have to plan that out ahead of time, like if, you should know what your providers are comfortable with, but a lot of folks don't necessarily plan to have a water birth, but they're in the tub and they're like, no, I'm not getting out. Or we've had folks who plan to give birth in the water and then when it comes time they're like, you know what, it's not really working for me. So like give yourself space to do what feels right in that moment and what feels comfortable, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, many times I'll make a suggestion and the birthing person just can't even fathom moving into another room or never mind stepping into a tub. It's just too much. And guess what? There's room for that and it's
Totally.
okay. So we're
Yeah.
always happy to see people listen to themselves and follow their hearts when they're in labor. Much better outcomes
Yeah.
when you listen to your own self, trust your intuition. You know
Yeah.
better than all of us. Um, a lot of questions and things that people want to know before they take our class is how are you going to teach me how to breathe while I'm in labor?
You already know how to breathe.
Heads up,
Congratulations.
you know how to breathe. Think
Yeah.
about when you are in a stressful situation or you are exercising, your breathing changes on its own,
Yes.
but you're
I
still
mean,
still breathe. We just are there to like help you.
yeah. And I think so a lot I don't talk about it a lot. My background, my original childbirth ed training is in hypnobirthing. I've moved away from teaching hypnobirthing as is because I think there are some problematic things about it, but I think the overall philosophy is great.
Mhm.
And I love the idea that like it's all about just keeping your body calm and your mind as calm as possible. So, and when we talk about hypnosis, people are like, "Ooh, hypnosis, that sounds weird."
You
We
guys
always
are
picture like yeah, we picture like from the 1920s like Mesmer the magician with like a pendulum and like that's not what it is. It's like
oh,
I know it's very disappointing. He doesn't pop out of nowhere, unfortunately. um, but like it's basically just deep relaxation. It's it's self hypnosis, but it's deep relaxation. And so we with that we do a lot of work with breathing. And anyone who's done yoga or meditation, this is all going to be really familiar. So basically however you want to breathe is fine as long as you keep breathing. um, Please keep breathing, obviously. But there is, I think, a lot of people, there is that tendency when you're uncomfortable during a contraction to kind of clench up and hold your breath, like, oh. Um, and so a lot of, a lot of what we do at births is just, let's relax your body, keep breathing, just reminding you. But it's really paying attention to your breath. And a lot of this is, again, anyone who's done yoga, like meditation, this kind of thing,
mhm.
that's going to sound really familiar. It's a lot of just slowing your breath and paying attention to it. And it's really a great way to distract your brain from, all of the other things that it might be wanting to do. And also to just get in touch with what's going on with your body. And just by paying attention to your breathing and slowing it, it actually relaxes you
Mhm.
automatically. Like your body is like, okay, fine. Whew.
Yes, and in the long run, it's going to help your recovery because it's
Mm,
exhausting. Being tense is exhausting, so it's
yeah,
only going to contribute to you petering out faster and the day after birth being like, ow, why do I have such a kink in my shoulder? Like, wow, my back really, really hurts.
yeah,
Probably places you were holding all of that tension. Um,
yeah.
so breathing is extremely important, not only in labor, but in everyday life. Uh,
Well, and
so
that I
take
love.
take some time to like get in touch with
Yeah,
where your tension's being held and your breath day to day. I always notice it when I'm driving. I tend to get a little bit more and give yourself a few good deep breaths and
yeah.
slow down for a second. Um,
It is. It's like a great stress reduction skill for like life in general, not only for
Parenthood,
labor.
right?
Yeah,
So with the hypnosis, um, which we definitely are equipped to support
yeah,
folks that choose that, but also guided meditation.
yeah,
Sometimes folks have a passage from a book or something that they have heard and they really like and it speaks to them they have me repeat that or say it to them either during a contraction or when one finishes. And that kind of helps them refocus and they have something to think about. Um,
Yeah.
so so routine is really helpful in labor, especially as things progress to where you're in a more active labor state or even transition when those contractions are they're coming nice and regularly and they're coming a little bit closer together and they're lasting a little bit longer. Some folks like to have that repetition to help them really stay focused. We do recommend you having a focal point, whether it's something that you have packed with you or it's in your home, something to focus on. Sometimes a focal point becomes something they never even thought, and it's like a spot on the wall that
Yeah.
nobody planned for. A focal point that I had when I was still at home was a beautiful oriental rug. Now, when it came
Mm.
time to go to the hospital, I couldn't pack up the oriental rug and bring it with me, unfortunately. My husband seemed to think that it was, crazy of me to want to bring it. But I loved the designs on it. And as I walked around the rug, I focused on every part of it. And it brought me a lot of comfort.
Yeah.
A lot of comfort. So kind of have the mind be a little tricked while you're in labor. I think that that really helps. Do you have something else that you want to touch on with the
Um, yeah, I mean, I could talk for hours and hours about hypnobirthing and relaxation during birth. A lot of what we use is kind of guided relaxations and you can find these online, either scripts, um, that your partner can read to you, or that you can find recordings that you can just listen to, where it kind of takes you through it, like it helps you get in touch with your breathing. It's basically someone just talking you through the process. um, and what that does is especially the hypnobirthing ones, they really get you into a very deep state of relaxation, where your brain is like a little more open to suggestions. It's not going to take any suggestions that are not acceptable to you, but suggestions like you're comfortable and your body can do this, and like things. That's a lot of the kind of things that we say, like you're relaxed and refreshed, and so we do in our classes, we do practice that. We talk a little bit more in depth about why it works, how it works, how to use it, because you really want to practice these things ahead of time so that you develop that skill of being able to go into that relaxed state. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to try this for the first time when I'm in labor, which is like, it's not going to be that helpful. So
right?
yeah, so I mean, and I think there's a ton of tools kind of in that
Yep.
world that we can work
Oh
with.
yeah, that's why like we are skimming the surface here,
I
everybody.
know. I know.
Next,
I'm like, I feel like we could do a video on like each one of these
right.
things.
Oh, I mean, we teaching and talking about labor and really kind of the
Our
inner
jam.
workings are really a place that I think that Liz and I do well because we enjoy it and we have a lot of fun and
Yeah.
it's not all like this heavy duty, this is what you have to do or if you don't do it, yeah, we're not
The
like
finger. No, we're not doing that.
right. But something else that I want to talk about is touch.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I always say like when you stub your toe or you bang your knee or something, one of the first things you do is you kind of go to like rub it and it's like, well, when we're feeling all of that, let's just say, especially in like our belly region, we tend to rub our bellies or rub our lower backs and all of that. And touch is really important in labor if it's something that you are comfortable with.
Yes.
So, um, first of all, if there's any reason that you don't like being touched or a place that you don't like being touched, please let the people who are supporting you know that. If something triggers you, please speak up and say, I don't want to be touched there. I want you to, really before anybody touches you, you you need to give them permission. Nobody should be laying their hands on you without your permission. So state those boundaries. Be clear about that. Let people know where and when and how to touch you.
Yeah.
And that
And
goes
I
for
just
that goes for your partner too.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to acknowledge that like sometimes if you and I just want to go there and just say that like so many women have a history of assault or abuse, and if you get triggered in that situation, you're not going to always be able to say I don't in a coherent way, I don't like that, please don't do that, so it is okay to just say no, like express that in whatever way that you can. You don't have to be perfectly polite and eloquent about it, because sometimes that's not possible. And even if you're not in that kind of triggered, but like even if you're just in labor and you're in it, you're not always going to be able to be like, sweetie, could you please. So just it's okay to just be like, no, no, just
You
get
can,
off.
you can swat a hand away. We are not going to get
Yeah,
offended because it's going to
yeah,
help everybody help you that much more. But if touch is your thing,
yes,
they're
and
all
for
different.
many of us it is.
For the most part, it is one way or another. So touch can range from what we call effleurage, which is just that light touch when someone's like stroking your arm really lightly, kind of those like in between where we're saying like you're doing a great job. Sometimes that
Yeah,
can make people feel creepy crawly and they don't like it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, please don't touch me like that."
yeah,
So, and some people want a more deeper touch. I've done acupressure with folks. I've done a more deeper massage. Um, Sometimes it's running, our hands through someone's hair if they really like that. Um, we also do what's called counter pressure, where
mm,
if baby is pushing on your lower back or excuse me, your low back is just uncomfortable, we can put the heel of our palm on your backside and push during those contractions, and that gives relief. Sometimes we do a hip squeeze where we squeeze the sides of your hips and help your pelvis to open up even more. Some folks find great relief in that. Sometimes we give it a try. Someone says, "Oh, um, don't push as hard," or "I need you to push even harder." I mean, there are times, and most doulas would know this. You get into your car or your transportation after birth, and your arms. You've been up for 10 hours, pushing on someone's hips, and you're like, wow, that was exhausting. And that's another great reason why it's super to at least get super birth education or have a professional with you, because if your goal is to go without medication, there's a lot more physical work involved in the labor, and you're going to need someone to bounce off of and have as your, you know to switch off with. So those are some things that when we talk about with touch. Also, hot and cold work well for people. Some folks like an ice pack on their low back, or
yeah,
they find that having a cold compress on their forehead or the back of their neck really helps them if they're feeling nauseous, um,
yeah,
or just that tension. Some folks are like, I want all the heat. That feels really good. That's why sometimes the tub or the shower is really helpful, because you also get that heat, which your care providers will obviously be making sure that your tub isn't too hot. You can also get dehydrated in those situations. So always make sure that you're drinking by mouth as well. We have
yeah.
that sensible loss where we're panting, or we're just breathing a lot more, we're sweating, and we
You
lose
get
water
dry mouth.
away.
Yeah,
You're talking. So your support people are need to be geared to help you get through this, because a lot of times you don't know exactly what you need or what you want. But if you have people there with you who are knowledgeable and equipped to serve you, you will be able to get through things a lot easier, which then hopefully will decrease your perception of this pain and get you
yeah.
to that end result of baby on your chest and everybody sighing. a big sigh of relief going, oh, I'm glad that's over. I did it. I did it.
Yeah.
If you are an athlete, you did it. And
Yeah.
there's no more greater thing than seeing you all get through that as a team.
Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I want to just kind of wrap up
Yep.
and just again, this is like we could talk about this for hours and hours. So
So
this is
do
just
talk about it with us for hours.
I
Come to
know
our
we
classes. Have us in
do.
your
Yes.
home.
Yeah. So yeah, again, so we have our upcoming birth class in Norwell. It is on November 18th. So that's
Yep.
a 1 day class. You are so welcomed and invited to join us. I'll post the link in the comments to register. If you want to know more about what we're doing, you want to connect with us, we're at risingtidewomen.com. We're here on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and our handle on Instagram is at Rising Tide Women.
Trying to make it
Um,
full.
yeah, and I don't know, I love doing these videos with you, Lindsay.
I
And
do too. I do too. I was nervous when we first started them,
yeah,
and they just, I feel like, gotten better and better. So everyone, join us whatever way you can. We just want to reach out to as many people as possible and give you that rising tide love and encouragement and knowledge to know that you can get through anything. We believe in you and we love hearing from you. So stay in touch. It makes our day.
yeah, and I would love to know actually in the comments if you would share what worked for you during labor. Like what was there any of these non-medical things or the medical things that
Yeah.
really helped you
Yes.
get through labor? I would
Yep.
love to hear from all of you. That would
Yep.
be wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, thanks. Have a beautiful week.
Bye
Mwah.
bye. Happy Halloween.
Yes.